I'm back. Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast is back. Sorry I left y'all for so long, but had to move. Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast YouTube channel. I'm back. So I finally got around to watching the first episode of the Top Model documentary. And honestly don't see what the big deal is. All right, you white motherfuckers, all eyes on me. This is the I Refuse podcast. As somebody that was there watching America's Next Top Model when it premiered on the CWUPN back in 2002, 2003, I'm probably in the minority, and this has more to do with the age than it does with, the generation that came after us that was dragging Tyra up and down the timeline during the pandemic. Because y'all seem to forget a lot of things. But we're gonna get into it. So I watched the first episode, and again, it was like going down memory lane. Top Model for me has always held a special place in my heart, but also I knew what I was getting into. Dare I say, so did the girls that signed the contracts, that more or less knew that not only was the competition, but these cameras were not sent by Wilhelmina Models. You got to remember this, when Top Model came out, Real World was still a thing. Road Rules was kind of in and out. And this was long before Love and Hip Hop and Real Housewives and all that other stuff. But this was no different. But I can tell in that first episode, definitely towards the end, that they were trying to go for a quiet on set kind of thing, which rises to the reception or the reaction or the internet thesis y'all keyboard thugs like to put out there, that this show wasn't shit. Tyra Banks ain't shit. She's always been a mean girl. Like, y'all go into this whole thing like you know these people. And y'all were letting a lot of people believe or having Tyra Banks shoulder this entire experience. That first episode should have probably cleared up a lot of things for a lot of people that thinks that it was all Tyra Banks. But y'all had no smoke for Kenya Barris. You had no smoke for Ken Mock. Only the model. And we can get into varying degrees of opinion about Tyra Banks as a celebrity, as a personality. But at the end of the day, this tradition of negating or diminishing a person off of your own perception and how y'all come together as a community of know-it-alls, having simply an opinion about somebody with little to nothing to go on but this TV show. And then what y'all do is y'all will go back and try to rewrite history. Y'all have gone on to talk about how you hated her character on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I'm like, hold on. You are literally going after this person by way of the other jobs they've had. But y'all can't say shit about her modeling career. Y'all can't say shit about her impact. Y'all have never stopped dissing the Tyra Banks talk show, which that was definitely an unhinged kind of thing. And more often than not, out of all the things, all the episodes, y'all always relive the episode that she had Naomi Campbell on with no audience. And y'all theorize she had her on with no audience because y'all didn't want the audience clapping louder for her. Be that as it may, whatever. But y'all will never make me hate Tyra Banks. So here we have the rollout kind of precipitating before the premiere of the show. And then since it came out, the two punks and Mr. Nigel Barker, they are juicing this the most. And keep in mind that the production of this documentary was two separate parallels. You had Tyra Banks on this side, you had everybody else on this side, and I don't think either party knew or had knowledge of the other side's participation. For Tyra Banks' part, she had an idea and she did a lot of the groundwork on her own to get this thing off the ground. And what you got from Top Model were a lot of things, in which a lot of the core of the show, none of y'all really addressed. It was more the drama and entertainment value and victimizing these women. And it's like, this can't be the same generation that watches Real Housewives of New York and New Jersey, and they get such a delight out of those shows, but they instantly turn into Norma Rae over these girls, over facing some realities in life that a lot of people face. You signed on because you wanted to become a model. Part of that also was you're getting followed by a camera crew because this is a reality show. And you're playing the game. No more, no less than the folks over at Love and Hip Hop. You are there to entertain folks. And the people behind the scenes are definitely going to fish for that and edit things in a way to create and drive numbers up. That's entertainment. That's reality TV. The shit you've been watching since before Top Model and since Top Model. But the girls, like, this isn't the facts of life. Let's get real, right? So people watch the show. Opinions really haven't changed much. I mean, everything is all on Tyra Banks. She hasn't taken any accountability. And it's like, she wasn't the only one on the show. If you look back at Top Model, a lot of the same people that were in just about all the episodes are the same ones part or leading the bandwagon with the narrative that y'all are feeding into if y'all have gassed up. And at the end of the day, when I look at the show, it's a reality of this show was business, nothing personal. Like so many other jobs you've had in the fashion industry, this too was another job. You gave it your all. You stayed on as long as you possibly could. Whether the reality was you were fired or let go, that's not uncommon in TV. Now it's like, out of all the famous people that you know or knew that you were suffering from a stroke, Tyra didn't come see you. Tyra didn't keep in contact with you. Tyra didn't do this. Tyra didn't do that. You've worked probably as long as she has. She was able to parlay being a model into acting roles, television, movies, a talk show. Really, at a time where a lot of like rappers were going into TV and movies, probably the first group to really be the chameleons of the industry. There are no guarantees. It's like you are at your big age putting out this narrative like you expected something that you most likely didn't communicate or outline going into Top Model. Mind you, there was a time where Top Model was a strong force for about 8 or 9 cycles. Now we're about to go into cycle 25. And, it's all a setup to get that going again, which is pretty smart. It's all about being smart. And unless you're working in a government job or you're working, God forbid, you're still working a retail or a fast food job in your 40s and 50s, working in an industry that doesn't have health insurance, vision, dental, any kind of medical support, and you take the time after thankfully surviving your stroke and putting out there that Tyra didn't keep in contact with you and never saw you in the hospital, decided to not only be part of the bandwagon and keep the story going, but y'all have set up a GoFundMe for this person, for Miss J. And it's like, no. In this economy, no. You better go to Anna Wintour for that money. Like, it's a job. It's a job. And this is yet again, another example that separates a lot of us that have worked our entire lives from those that had it so easy and have all this time and resource to complain about a bunch of shit that in no way improves their life. And it is so interesting to see Nigel Barker part of the fray. And nobody wants to acknowledge or have a discussion around the fact that the very people that were on Sherry's show, and Sherry, I'm still side-eyeing you because you would think after being canceled, you would stop being so damn fake. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Y'all were part of the show too. Mr. J, Mrs. J, and Nigel Barker. Y'all were part of the show too. Y'all also contributed by way of your cattiness, your shade, and your uptight, albeit suaveness, in creating a hostile environment for those models. Now, I'm going to continue to watch the other 3 episodes because I can tell from the end of the first episode that this Shandy experience is definitely going to go into some dark territories because they actually filmed her entire experience with that French guy forcing himself on her. See, in real time, when we were watching the show, we saw that it was televised, and we perceived that she definitely slept with the guy, and she felt bad because she had an adorable boyfriend back home, and she realized she fucked up, and she called back to him, and he was crying and emotional, and oh, my heart broke for him, and she told him what happened, and he went off on her, and rightfully so. Rightfully so for going off on her, because you're my everything. Shandy was the girl from Walgreens or CVS, you know, the kind of girl you would see around town working her little 9-to-5 job for her little coin. And she like blossomed and made it to Milan and surpassed a lot of people's expectations. Now, Shandy now, by the looks of things, looks like she, and this is my own mind looking at her, I wouldn't be surprised if she moonlights as a dominatrix, especially with that hair. I live. But I get the feeling that episode 2 is definitely going to be a dark turn of things. And some of y'all couldn't wait to give y'all unsolicited, non-consensual thesis about the show, posts and stuff like that, about SA and rapists and stuff. And it's like, uh-oh, here we go. You will never hear from me, Mr. Fox of the I Refuse podcast, defend, apologize, or protect any perpetrators out there. Knowing or believing that throughout the production of that show in its heyday, where you had American women, all of about like 18, 19, 20 years old, going to these other countries, having to model with men who are from different cultures, speak a different language, and feel on some level very entitled to a woman's body. Because let me tell you, there are some facets of the world that still believe this is the 16th century or the 15th century, that they can have their way with a woman without prejudice, without propriety, like with all kinds of things that set the framework for culpability, accountability, and justice, and going about their day. Now, to know that these kind of things could happen, and you have all these people from this production company watching it go down and not say anything, not go to the law, not even place a citizen's arrest on these men, ick. Just ick. But surely, as a person that has gone through high school, has worked his ass off since the age of 15, 16 years of age, by choice, gone through high school, gone through graduate school, undergrad school, and has been outside all his life, you will never get me to jump on the bandwagon of let's shoulder all the accountability on Tyra Banks and expect her to take responsibility how we feel she should. Like, y'all want so much out of a situation that you know doesn't pay you much. And you look to the rest of the world to join your campaign. And for what? So you can achieve a certain thing just to move on and go into something else and make that your next project or your assignment. You don't care nothing about these girls. Half of y'all don't even care about the people that y'all live with. You don't even like your coworkers. You don't like your boss. Yet you get your ass up every day and you go to this job that you complain about. Can you what else is there? You know what I mean? Like surely you're watching the same thing that I'm watching where you have grown-ups, able-bodied people who are working right in front of you on this talk show who probably from their connection to the show for better or worse have stayed employed. Mr. J even said at some point, because another thing that's happened is that ever since this show was announced, Mr. J has been given opportunities to come on podcasts and other shows to talk about his experience and give his testimony from his own words as to when did him and Tyra fall out, what happened, what led to the decision, and all that other stuff. And he even said out of his own mouth that he couldn't, he was kind of waiting for things to come around, but he had other opportunities and other things that came up that he ultimately ended up doing or committing to, and he went on. So it wasn't like he was out of work. Like, y'all gotta understand that prior to America's Next Top Model, the three other people in this equation that were part of the show and part of creating or playing up the drama and creating tension and playing these mind games with these impressionable girls from these small towns never lost work. Never lost work. Matter of fact, when they were on Sherry, they were still working. Are we not watching the same thing? Like, yes, on some level, they considered her a friend of theirs. But at the end of the day, as three adults, they have choices just like everybody else. Like I don't get it. Like at your big age, you aim to have somebody, you want somebody to feel sorry for you. And it sucks in the real world, but that's life. You can never make me hate Tyra Banks. That woman made an opportunity for a lot of people who, in their mind, a lot of these girls thought, oh, this is going to, being on Top Model and being part of that. Oh, I'm gonna get mine. And even the girls that won for more or less, it may have not panned out the way that they wanted to, but you're still working. People still know you. A lot of people, I think the more people arrive to this reality that life doesn't owe you anything, and coming out of your house or waking up and coming outside and for work or being part of life, expecting something, like as soon as you decondition and unpack that, I think you'll be better off and more at peace. There are some girls that didn't win top model. They got signed by modeling agencies. And yes, the other side of that, whether you won or not, is that photographers and clothing labels and companies and stuff like that don't want to work with a reality star. The ignorance is on them. You just dust yourself off and you go on about your day. You didn't know that. But there is one model that did win America's Next Top Model. Didn't complain a day yet. And she works. She works. And I think the moral of the story is this. A lot of y'all will never have peace in your life because you are too preoccupied with raising hell. Eva's working. Gave a beautifully nuanced response. Has done nothing but give Tyra her tens and her praises. It's what you do with it. It's how you respond to it that determines your karma in life. But you don't see any tweets or any responses around that reality either. Oh, let's just all blame Tyra. Tyra works. Tyra's good. Tyra did the work. Tyra had an idea. And as is the case with various other productions, as an executive producer, things tend to go in different directions. At the end of the day, it's her decision, yes, but she was not the only cook in the kitchen. I'm surprised I didn't have any of the smoke for Kenya Barris. Two things can be true. Not condoning, I say that may have happened. I'm not condoning any assault that has happened. The other aspects of the show was for entertainment. No more, no less. The other shit that you watch on Bravo, that you watch on MTV, and you watch on VH1. Surely you did not think that in Paris that models actually walked the catwalk between pendulums. And they may have possibly walked on catwalks on water. But you can't convince me that some of those challenges, especially the last 5 or 4 challenges leading up to the finale, were not iconic. They weren't meant to trying to break those girls down. Do you have the stamina and do you actually have the heart for this, like you say you do? What competition is. That's what reality is about. But if you want to complain, go to the union or go to HR. In the meantime, between time, I will continue to watch the rest of this documentary. Somebody told me on Scruff that the Shandy thing going in, in episode 2, it may turn out different than what a lot of people expect. And I can't wait. In the meantime, between time, I'm Mr. Fox, the I Refuse Podcast. Get into the I Refuse Podcast, Usual Suspects Podcast, I Refuse Podcast After Dark. Wherever you get your podcasts, subscribe to the I Refuse Podcast YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Tumblr. The link is in the bio. The link is on the YouTube page. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.